Good day mga ka-research! This is Doc John and welcome to Pinoy Researcher Channel. Sa video na ito, I will share tips that can help you effectively conceptualize your research work. Your research work could be your thesis, dissertation, requirement for a research subject, or an institutional research. So if you're watching this video, most likely you are involved in doing research in one way or another. So congratulations! To start, it is said that one of the first problems that student researchers or other researchers encounter ay kung paano nila uumpisahan ang kanilang research project. Actually, malaking part sa issue na ito ay kung anong research problem ang iyong aaralin. If your approach is not effective, certainly we will have problems. But the good news is that may hack po ang problem na ito. Number one, it is good to understand that doing research is primarily about filling in gaps in the existing research conversation about a subject matter. This is actually one meaning if we view research as a way of contributing to the existing body of knowledge. With this, it is just but proper that your proposed research should have a very clear gap to fill in. So, how can you identify a literature gap that is worth undertaking? To be practical about this, for example, interested ka sa usapin ng online learning engagement. You can access online research repositories like Google Scholar and others and search for online learning engagement PDFs. You will see a number of PDFs about this subject matter. As a start, download just few but quality articles. Then, maghanap ka ng research gaps from the 2 or 3 research articles that you downloaded. How do you find the research gaps in these articles? May iba-ibang approaches. But isa sa mga hacks dito is for you to go to the discussions part, the limitations part, or the implications part. Generally, it is in these parts where you find tips on what to study. So I will show you an example. In this section of the discussions part, we see the researchers identify a couple of future research directions. For example, dito sa yellow highlight that I made, we can see a specific direction that future researchers like you or me can actually do to extend what they have found out here. Sabi nila, the supportive environment finding, meaning to say yung finding nila, related to supportive environment, bears deeper investigation to ensure colleges and universities meet unique needs of non-traditional students across all modalities in ways that take into account their life circumstances. And they went on to say that a key focus of this effort should be the already documented need to better support older, part-time, and commuting students who must balance their academic responsibilities with their obligations such as work and family, etc., etc. That's one. So this is an area that you can actually look into if you do a research, a new research related to online learner engagement in higher education. And then next, dito sa green part, they said, in a set of novel analysis, we investigated 2 measures of deep learning approaches, higher order learning and reflective and integrative learning. They went on to say, in both cases, our results found higher scores for online learner population relative to face-to-face learner population, though matching substantially reduced the magnitude of the differences. And this is the beautiful part here. These findings beg further investigation to identify the affordances of online instruction that facilitate richer cognitive engagement than traditional classroom instruction. So you see, by critically looking into the discussions part, we see very relevant future research directions here. And what we can do is to look into this and the possibility of doing a research, taking into account these directions that the researchers of this study articulated. And what you can do actually is to marry the directions in research that are highlighted here, marry it to the limitations that we have also discussed earlier. And if you do that, you develop a research concept around this literature information, then you would have a very relevant prospective research to undertake. Okay, so tapos na tayo sa number 1. Number 2, download just a few but quality articles. Remember, few but quality. As mentioned earlier, you can start with 2 or 3 PDFs. There's always an urge to download, you know? You have to resist it. Ma-overwhelm ka with information. It can even paralyze you. Ang result nun is that you cannot move on. Okay? So be strategic in your approach, okay? In reality, you will really read more and more articles. Hindi lang dalawa. But as a starter, just read few but quality articles. Isa sa mga indicators of quality is that the material is published in reputable journal. If you want to be technical about it, you can check the impact factor of the journal, or you can also check the citation index of the article. But another indicator that I like most, ito personal ko lang ha, is that quality articles have well-articulated limitations, discussions, and implications. So if these parts are not well-articulated, it's an indicator that the material is not of high quality. Meaning to say, during the conceptualization phase, wala ka gaanong information na makukuha. So what you can do is to discard such kind of articles during the beginning of your literature search. Kasi nga, as mentioned earlier, we want to locate, we want to identify relevant research gaps that our research proposal would fill in. And it is generally in these parts, the limitations part, the discussions part, the implications part, where you see relevant research gaps or research information. Notice I mentioned research articles and not books. Yes, during the conceptualization part of your research, I don't recommend reading books. Okay? Practically, there's limited information about research gaps in textbooks. So, wag muna textbooks at the outset of your conceptualization, okay? Another thing, kasi usually may bayad yung quality materials, what you can do is to ask your librarian for access to online research repositories that your school has subscribed. For example, ProQuest, EBSCO, and others. Most likely, may library fee kang binayaran during your enrollment. So, i-maximize mo na yon, sayang din. So, that's number 2. Punta na tayo sa number 3. So, for the last tip, I should say, you need to invest time in reading. Yung tipo na you will critically analyze the different contents of the article. It's not the usual leisurely reading that we do. Okay? Kasi pag di tayo nag-i-invest ng time to critically treat the research literature or reading material, mahihirapan tayong maghanap ng relevant research gaps. And ang direct implication nun is walang solid grounding ang ating research project. Kaya nga during research reviews, like proposal reviews, ang isa sa mga tanong na nahihirapan sagutin ng mga researchers is that what's the research gap that your research, your proposal is trying to fill in? Usually, dun talaga nagkakatalo eh. Because the students find it very hard to address that particular question. As observed, not making the right investment in reading is the most common problem why students and researchers have a hard time starting their project. At ito pa, don't be contented with reading the abstract. Worst, don't quote from it. If that's what you do, you are not investing well. And we can safely say that you would have a low quality research proposal. So, don't do that, okay? So really, importante po ang investment in reading. Kasi in reality, as you go along, you will read more and more articles. Hindi lang talaga 2 or 3, but more. So mga ka-research, that's it for now, okay? Sa aking next video, I will share to you how to utilize research gaps and other literature information to develop research frameworks, research questions, and hypotheses. If this is your first time to be in my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And kindly share this video if this has helped you in one way or another. Or if you think that you have a friend who would benefit from this content, you can refer this video to her or him. If you have time, you can share comments or insights below. You can also share topics that you want me to discuss in the future. Till next, mga ka-research, continue researching. Blessings, everyone.